Hello students, methodology ts2b. معهم يحصلنا الشرف نتعرف عليكم. طيب صبايا. Okay, last time I have discussed speaking lesson activity, how to prepare a speaking lesson activity, and today I'm going to discuss how to test speaking to our students, okay, and how to divide marks according to the test speaking activity. So here are some tips of how to test speaking for our students, elementary classes, grade 1, 2, and 3. Keep them in mind, please. In order to organize a speaking test, okay, over a larger class, you need to plan very carefully the way you test speaking. First of all, you have to do the testing over many lessons, okay, since you have discussed more than one, okay. And more importantly is to test students in groups of 2 or 3, could be 4, depending on the large number you have two students in the class, okay. And be careful how you group your students, okay, between stronger ones and weaker ones, okay. You have to arrange, okay, in each group there must be some good students and some weak students, okay. They have, so that they can join each other and communicate with each other in the group, because we know that weaker students usually feel shy, okay, to communicate. So while we divide our students into groups, so they don't feel shy to communicate with students, okay. Maybe they feel shy to communicate with the teacher loudly, especially in speaking, okay. And as I usually say, that speaking and writing are kind of productive skills. So our students have to defy themselves in order to produce words to speak or to write. More tips, my students. Decide if you are going to give a group mark or an individual mark. You have to know, okay, is the mark based upon a group work or an individual work. Give all students a writing activity or test and call out individuals or groups to test them where they cannot disturb the writers. And here in this activity, when they write in order to speak, okay, you give them an activity, okay, to write in order to speak it later, to make it a speaking activity later. My students always mark speaking as it happens very soon afterwards, okay. You will quickly forget what level a student actually achieved. In a speaking activity, use cards marked with the topics for discussion, pictures, maps, diagrams, or objects to give students something to talk about. So our students should know what speaking, okay, about what they are going to speak, what's the topic, okay. So you may show them flashcards, you may show them pictures, topics, you can use real items, real objects, depends. These will also make them feel more relaxed. A few card speaking test. Don't forget to ask students to say their names. Okay, this is better, okay, which make them feel more confident. My students, when testing speaking and when you construct the test, be clear what you are giving marks for. You can give marks for grammatical accuracy, using vocabulary you have taught them, using appropriate functional language, pronunciation, etc. What do I mean here is that when you make a speaking test to your students, okay, and you want them to speak about the activity, about the topic, okay, you have to divide your mark according to pronunciation. Do they pronounce well, okay? Do they have appropriate functional language, okay? Do they speak good expressions, okay? You want them to speak, okay? Of course, this functional language you should have learned it before, okay? Do they have correct lexical terms? before you taught them vocabulary, do they use the suitable vocabulary related to the topic? Are they using this vocabulary? And this is important, okay? they have to use the correct vocabulary for the topic. And are they using the language grammatically in a correct way? Okay, so you have to divide this mark according to all these elements. Keep in mind, please, okay? Make a record sheet like the one below so that you can record all the things you want to test and how well a student performed it. This page, you will find it on 105, 105 if you want to revise what I have discussed, okay? You can find it in your books on pages 104, 105. Last time I have discussed with the vocabulary speaking lesson, how to prepare a speaking lesson. Okay, now I followed it by a testing speaking activity lesson. Okay, so all in all, okay, pay attention how you prepare your speaking lesson following the method PPP, the presentation. Okay. The practice and the production, and as I have discussed before, the presentation has less time than the practice and the production, because in speaking and writing activities, students have to produce more, have to make more effort, okay, in order to speak or to write, okay. So presentation is less time than the practice and the production phase. In a presentation phase, to sum all, okay, you have to specify the time and introducing the topic you want to speak about in the presentation phase. Divide your students into groups and make them speak about the topic you want to discuss. Later in the practice phase, you have to write activities that should tell about a speaking activity, okay, like the ones I discussed before. Maybe you ask for a dialogue between a student to student, okay, and preferable, okay. You write them the tips on the board and asking them to make a dialogue between them. Maybe you have to ask them about a diary, tell about their afternoon activities. Okay, this is a good activity for speaking. Okay, so students have to speak about the activities they want to do afternoons. You can draw them pictures and ask them to speak about the differences they find in the pictures. And in the production phase, you can also draw pictures and ask them to speak. Okay, a sentence, 2 sentences, or if grade 3, it could be, you can ask them to speak a paragraph form about it, and they can write to speak. Okay, you can ask them to write, okay, sentences in order to speak them later in front of the class in the speaking activity, okay. So all in all, in a speaking activity, students have to communicate all the time. They have to speak all the time. It's kind of communication all the time. Okay, dialogue, conversation, teacher to student, student to student. Okay, so our session should be active all the time through communication. Okay. That's all what I want to discuss for today. Okay, I will be waiting your questions on my private number, okay, to discuss any more questions you would like to ask me about. Okay, see you next time. And I guess I have have finished all the skills I want to speak about. Later on, I'm going to start with the methods, more methods to tell about in our methodology. Okay.